Thank you so much for rejoining us. We trust that you've had a wonderful time with all of our speakers this morning, as well as the workshops that you were able to engage in. I want to thank the workshop presenters and their wonderful presentations that they were able to provide, as well as thanking the Mental Health Counseling Center for providing a mental health counselor for every single session, breakout session that we had. So thank you to all of you so much. We appreciate you. So my name is Lori Oldham. I've been part of the San Diego City College City Women Rock program since its inception. So I'm so grateful for the opportunity to address you today. What I'd like to do now is introduce our student speaker. So Victoria Owuso. What is she? Let me just tell you a little bit about her. I'm so proud of her. She's not only the ASG president, but she's also the student trustee. And she is a scholar from programs such as PTK, Emoja, MESA, Promise, and others. So we are so grateful that she's here to tell you a little bit about her background. And she's such an inspiration. I'm sure you'll find her that way too. So thanks again for joining. This is Victoria Russo. Go ahead and take it away, Victoria. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Owuso. Happy International Women's Day. I trust you are enjoying the City Women Rock Summit. I have the distinct honor and privilege to speak with you all today of all days. Once again, I'm Victoria Wahima Owusu. I'm originally from Ghana, West Africa, and I moved to the States November 25th, 2016. So technically, I've been in the state for about 6 years now. When I tell people about my migration, I always get questions like, what made you move to the States? So I moved to the States to reunite with my mother, and coming here was the first time seeing my mom after being separated for about 13, 14 years. I came to the States. One fun fact is that I came to the States alone, and it was my first time sitting in a plane. So imagine how terrifying that was. I actually have a story I always tell people. So coming from Ghana to the United States, you take 2 flights, and one from Ghana to New York and one from New York to San Diego. So after getting to New York, they have this big board where you just check the state or the city you're going to. So instead of checking San Diego, I was checking San Francisco. So I checked the time and I was like, so do I have to wait for an hour? And mind you, I couldn't eat the food in the plane because it was new to me and I was so hungry. So I was like, do I have to wait for an hour before I get to my next flight? But then I found my angel, and I call her my angel because it was just a lady that just walked up to me and she said, where are you going? And I said, I'm going to San Diego. And she said, girl, you have 15 minutes to go. So I was running to my flight, and then I got into the middle. I didn't know where to go. She mentioned a number to go to, but I didn't know where to go. So I met these 2 people, and I was like, where number should I go to? I'm going to San Diego. And they were talking, but the English was so fast for me that I couldn't hear what they were saying. So the only thing I heard was the number I was supposed to go to, which was number 31. So I went there and I was able to make my flight. So coming to the United States, I was a senior in high school back home. But sadly, when I arrived, I was asked to start as a freshman here at Hoover High School because they claim our educational system was different. So it's an assumption made here that all Africans technically can speak English, which isn't true because Ghana's second official language is actually English because we were colonized by the British. And looking at me taking geography, economics, history, and everything back in Ghana in English, and being sent to a class where they technically teaching them how to write a sentence, I was like, no, this class is not for me. So at my age back then, I think I was 16. I had to challenge them. I had to challenge the school. So I asked for an exam to prove my level in English, which I passed. So I was able to start as a junior in high school. Sometimes I see my growth and I wonder how I did it. I was that one student who wouldn't even answer questions in class because I was being bullied for my accent. I was the quietest on my softball team throughout high school until I became a part of an outside public speaking club, which helped me come out of my shell. I later became the loudest on my team my senior year of high school, and life became a lot easier to the extent where I had the courage to take AP literature. Graduating high school, I wanted to go to a four-year university, but I actually didn't have any intention of attending a community college. But due to some family responsibilities, I ended up applying to community college. I chose to attend City College due to an experience I had with the Umoja program back in high school during the Black History Month. As a first generation college student, starting college journey at City was a bit challenging. But thanks to the services here, life became a little better. Some of the clubs and programs I'm a part of at City College are Umoja, the MESA program, Promise Program, ALPS, PTK, City Women Rock, and ASG, the Associated Student Government. The Associated Student Government is a governing body that finances, organizes, and directs many student-sponsored programs and activities at City College. I joined the ASG board my first year at City College as a senator. My primary job as a senator was serving as a student voice, so basically communicating with students and bringing their concerns to the ASG board. With my current position as the president, I also serve as the student trustee at district level and nationwide. I'm also the representative for the ASG board as a whole and attend conferences, symposiums, panels, etc. The Umoja Community at City College is a program designed to assist African American and other historically underrepresented students who desire to transfer to four-year colleges and universities and earn their degree. My role as a member of the outreach committee is to recruit students to the program and help students better understand the program. City Women Rock cultivates leaders, empowering every woman to aspire beyond severe limitations and redefining a new generation of women. The core value is unity, helping to achieve academic excellence and guides women students in the pursuit of great, and I am grateful to be a part of this great club. I am currently in my third year at City, and this is my last semester here. I study biology and I aspire to be a physician assistant in the near future. I chose to become a PA because during these critical times, I realized how important it is to have many people in the medical field. I actually chose to study pre-med initially because of my little sister who has sickle cells. Seeing how doctors, physician assistant, nurses help whenever she has appointments boosted my interest in working in the medical field so I can also help people like my sister and beyond. I am currently a CNA, a certified nurse assistant, and I love the relationship I have with my patients. So my plan in the next future is to open a nursing home to help take care of those who also need help due to intensive injuries, old age, dementia, and many more. I truly love what I do as a caregiver, and I can't wait to expand that knowledge to better help my community. My short-term goal is to transfer to either UC Davis or UCLA next fall. I did apply to 9 schools and I've been accepted to 3 of them. I'm excited to transfer, expand my knowledge, and work in a field I love to help my community. When I think about the future, I'm excited and feel supported by all many women who have nurtured my growth at San Diego City College and helped me to hone my leadership skills. As a student leader and a woman, it is my sincere duty to lift up my sisters in a way which they know without a shadow of doubt that they are also enough. They are more than enough. Let me encourage and inspire you to follow your dreams. You matter more than you think. You matter more than you can possibly know. I think back to my freshman year at City, and I'm always in the awe of who I have become. That's right. I said it, and I am in a wow of me. And you can say it too. And you have to say it with me, that I am in a wow of me. And yes, the more you put positive vibes about yourself into the universe, the more you see it manifest before your own very eyes. Whatever you aspire to be, know that having a sisterhood of personal cheerleaders is essential. Choose to lead cheers for your sisters because they need you. It will give you a confidence in yourself, and in turn, your confidence will become contagious. As sisters, we should stick together. We must show up for one another because we all matter. I encourage you to seek out the women at City College for support. They will answer your calls because they nurture us and help us to become our barriers that we may come about. They are wise, caring, and want to see you succeed academically, personally, and professionally. I urge you to stay connected. Please allow me to leave you with this inspiring quote from an unknown woman. And it goes, a strong woman knows she has strength enough for the journey, but a woman of strength knows it is in the journey where she will become strong. Thank you for your time today. I wish you joy, success, and a wonderful life journey. It is now my privilege and honor to introduce our closing keynote speaker. You know her as Gina de Latina from radio station 933. Gina de Latina has a stable on San Diego's #1 hit music station, Channel 933, for more than 15 years now. Arguably one of the most recognized and beloved radio personalities in San Diego. Gina is the host of the Gina de Latina and Frankie V morning show. She was voted best radio personality in the San Diego Union Tribune in 2019. In 2018, she was recognized by California Assemblywoman Lorena Gonzalez Fletcher, 80th District, as Woman of the Year. April 17, 2018, she was named as Gina de Latina Day by the city of San Diego. Gina also appears weekly on Fox 5 San Diego, giving viewers a look of what's happening around every weekend. Gina created the annual Girls Empowerment Conference, which is attended by 500 high school students from underserved communities throughout San Diego. It has since become the largest conference, non-religious, of its kind in the United States. Gina is currently on the board of the Positive Movement Foundation, which aims to provide underserved and at-risk children and youth with the tools to support and to increase their likelihood for success as they mature. Gina has accumulated more than 50,000 followers on social media, staking her claim on one of the San Diego's most influential social media influencers. Gina has been through more than most in her young life, having two teenage brothers killed due to gang violence, which is why she has such a strong passion for the inner city youth of her society. Gina was the first in her family to graduate from a four-year university and was also the founding president of the first ever Latina-based sorority, Gamma Lambda Gamma at Marymount University in Los Angeles, where she also received a Savoy Scholarship. She has been a member and has supported a number of charities throughout San Diego. She truly loves life and appreciates everything she has been blessed with. Welcome, Gina, and thank you for coming today to this very time-honored celebration, International Women's Day. Thank you. I think you're muted.
You're still muted, Gina. There? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
You would think that I would know how to talk since I talk for a living, right? Okay, someone's gonna have to tell me my timer's not working when the time comes. But first of all, I am so excited to talk to you all here today. I think it's amazing that you guys do this conference, and I'm honored to join you. And so first of all, I appreciate you guys spending your time doing this, and to the organizers, thank you for having me tell you about my journey. I wanted to speak to you guys today and tell you a little bit about who I am. She just did an amazing job. She made me sound way better than I am in that. But my life was not always like that. And I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about that. You know, now I talk on the radio for a living. I've gone to some of the best parties, been on the red carpets, interviewed celebs, gone to places that I've never ever dreamed of. Like I did dream about it, and we're going to talk about that later, but just done things that are just unimaginable in life. And you wouldn't think that I could do something like that given where I come from, right? If we live in our story that we're told. So I grew up in a little city right in LA. It's called San Fernando. It's pretty much all Mexican, 90% Mexican. And that's all I knew. And to tell you a little bit about the area, there's a lot of gangs there. All the girls get pregnant, probably a lot of people get pregnant by high school, and not a lot of people go to college. Not everybody, but not a lot. And I personally grew up in a family, I love my family, but you know, they came from the hood. So there was a lot of alcoholism. There was a lot of drug addiction. There was a lot of unhealthy behaviors that I grew up around. And I thought that was normal, honestly, growing up. And I know a lot of people that are probably on here grew up the same way, grew up in a family, you know, like yelling and screaming and all these things, right? Because we're big personalities. Anyways, during when I was like in elementary school and high school, though, I was a very, very good student. I was a 4.0 student. I got great grades. I excelled in sports. I was really good at softball. I started on a travel softball team at like 9 or 10 years old. And I started traveling. We were like the number 5 in the country when I was 10 years old. And I kept doing that throughout high school. Don't mind me if I'm taking water, because I've been talking a lot today. And the reason why I'm telling you all this is because I feel like sometimes as we get older, we don't realize that our experiences younger shape who we are. And I became Little Miss Perfect, and you would never think that I was surrounded by such a chaotic environment at home. And later on in life, one of my therapists told me, you know, kids, when they're young and they grow up in an environment like that, they can either go one or two ways. They can go in the way of what they're taught, which is, you know, they can become drug addicts, join a gang, get pregnant, or they can be completely opposite. Kids start controlling what they can control. And as I've grown up, I've learned that I started controlling what I can control. And at that time, it was getting good grades and playing softball. So I was an all-star softball player, and I was able to get a college scholarship to Loyola Marymount University to play softball. And I remember going onto campus the first day, and remember the area I come from, it's like 90% Mexican, not even 90% Latino, 90% Mexican. So I walk onto this campus, and I had never seen so many white people in my life. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is like the real world. I grew up with white people, but I never met anyone from Nebraska, from wherever they were from. On top of that, I grew up from, I met a lot of different kind of Latinos. To me, up until that moment, I thought we were all Mexican. You know what I mean? That's all I knew. And then I met a bunch of like, you know, Colombians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, and college was just a whole new world for me. And that's why I've always been a big proponent of college, because had I not gone to college, I would have never had those experiences. I wouldn't have known that there's a whole other world. A lot of people that grew up in communities where I grew up stay there, get married, have kids there, and never leave there. I mean, don't ever go anywhere. And going to college was kind of my gateway to realizing that there's a whole world out there with a bunch of different people from a bunch of different cultures, and everybody's story is so cool to learn about. So I am a big proponent of college for that reason alone. On top of that, I made some of my best friends. I started the sorority she was talking about. It's the first ever Latina-based sorority on campus at Loyola Marymount. It's a Sigma Lambda Gamma University, Sigma Lambda Gamma at Loyola Marymount University. It's the same, it's still there. I don't even know how many years later, I'm not going to age myself, but it's still there. And I think that was amazing. I met some of my best friends there. So during college, I excelled. And I always had this dream in my head that, you know, I was going to leave the hood and I was going to leave it behind. I didn't really talk about it. And after college, I was going to get a nice little apartment in a city called Burbank with, you know, with a little Jetta, and it was going to be nice. Now, if you want to know the equivalent here in San Diego, it's like, you know, coming from somewhere in San Ysidro and I'm going to live in Mission Valley or somewhere like that, just to give you guys perspective. And that was my dream, right? So right after college, actually, let me backtrack a little bit. During college, I always wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I had a bunch of different internships. I worked at DreamWorks. I worked at PR companies. I worked at a modeling agency. I did like all these different things. And one of the places I worked at was at a radio station, and I loved it. I met some of my best friends there. I never wanted to be on the radio per se, but it was just such a great experience. And I encourage you guys to try a lot of things during college, because when I was in college, I think a lot of things you try to realize that you don't want to either. You know, that can be classes. I'm not telling you to switch all your majors, but like sometimes we don't have it figured out. Like I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do right when I got into college at all. Like I didn't even declare a major until my junior year, but I did know I want to work in the entertainment. So I explored it. And one of those places was a radio station, and I loved it. So after I interned for about a year there, I got hired there at the radio station, where I continued to work throughout college. So back to my dream. So before that, I always knew that when I got to college, I was going to go get a job. I was going to live in this nice little town, have a cute little car, leave the I'm going to refer to it as the hood behind, because that's where I grew up, right? And so when I graduated from college, I did get a full-time job at Fox Sports TV. And I worked there, and it was just great. And I was a sales assistant, and I was doing all the things, right? About a year after working there, I get a phone call from, I don't even remember who it was, but, and this is a day that will change me forever. I got a phone call telling me that my youngest brother had got shot. Now, if you grow up in areas where I grew up in, gangs are just kind of a thing. Shootings happen all the time. I remember in high school, I would go to parties, and when we knew when it was time to go home, when we heard gunshots, and I thought that was very normal. And we knew what streets not to go to. We know which people not to look at. And it's just kind of like became part of life, and it wasn't weird for me. So I get the phone call that my little brother had been shot. He was 17 years old. He was a senior in high school. He played football. He wasn't in a gang, but if you grow up in areas where I grew up from, and I'm sure some of you guys can relate, it doesn't matter. You know, a gang is, you know, your cousin, your brother, down the street, whatever. So it's always around and it's always present. So what happened with my brother is he was 17 years old, senior in high school. He went to a flyer party, and he was with my other brother, because I had two brothers, Matthew and Stephen, and I was very close to them. They went to a flyer party. He had known the girl at the door from junior high or something. I don't know if he called her a B word or whatever, and she didn't like it. He went inside. I don't know exactly what happened. Everything I'm telling you is from the court, because we had to go to court after that. And he goes inside the party, and she goes and tells her boyfriend what he did, and he pulls out a gun and shoots him at 17 years old, right in front of my other brother. And he died later on that date. He never got to go to prom. He never got to go to, I'm sorry. Anyone that's lost someone knows that it takes a lifetime, you know, and I feel like I've done a lot of work, but it still gets very emotional for me. So he never got to experience any of the things that even you guys are experiencing. He never even had a chance to go to college. And after that, I mean, of course it was traumatizing, but I put it behind me, and I went back to work, And I don't even know if I told anyone at work because I was so embarrassed at the time of where I come from. And it was just a different mindset. And during that time, my other brother, Steven, who was 19 years old, me and him became very close. And he was on the other side. He was in a gang, pretty high up. I assume, I don't know. I was at college during this time, because to me, he's just my brother. He also had 2 kids at the time, my niece, Jalissa, and my nephew, Steven, who are now 20 and 19 years old. And my nephew actually goes to San Diego City College. He's in his first semester there. So I've been helping him with all that. But their dad was 19 at the time, and he was my best friend. Like all my life, he was my best friend. And even though we were so different, he was, in a gang and doing all these things, he was my best friend, and he was trying to get out of the gang at the time. And anyone that knows about that lifestyle knows that you can't just get out of the gang, right? You can't just say, oh, I want to get up and leave. But he was trying to for his kids. 6 months later to the day, I get another phone call that my brother Steven had been shot. And what happened was something I learned during court. At court, it was a bunch of little kids, like little kids on the stand. And a little kid describes it. He says there was 3 Mexican guys and there was 3 black guys. The Mexican guys wanted to play basketball with the black guys. The black guys didn't want to. So the Mexican guy threw a ball at one of the black guys and then went to the other side of the court to play. And that's when one of the black guys, and the reason why I'm using race, because this is what, from the mind of a little kid, one of the black guys goes, picks up a gun and shoots my brother in the gym. It was like an after school, like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he's killed 6 months to the day. And the kid who shot my brother was only 14 years old. So he lost his life too, because he's still in jail. After that day, I mean, everything is kind of a blur, because when you go through so much trauma, whether it be this or something else, there's a lot of different mechanisms. I moved out of my perfect little home that I had created, and I moved back with my parents, and I was severely, severely depressed. I didn't talk to anyone. I didn't see anyone. I developed eating disorder. I became like bulimic, and I wouldn't eat. And again, it goes back to when you're around trauma, you start controlling what you can control. And I encourage you guys to look at the behaviors as an adult or however your age and why you are the way you are. And I've become to learn that now as an adult, but I didn't understand at the time. So at the time when I started controlling, when everything was chaotic, when I lost 2 brothers, when I was depressed, I started to control my food, because that's what I can control. The same thing as when I was a kid and I started to control me just being perfect and being great, giving good grades and all that, because my parents did not go to college. They grew up in the projects. No one was teaching me to be a straight A student. But I would encourage you guys to look at some of your behaviors now and say, oh, is that why I am the way I am? Just as an observation. So I did that for about, not did that. I wish I could see you guys. I've never done this on Zoom. But I did that. I was depressed for about a year. And my old boss at a radio station I worked at in LA, Kiss FM, called me. And I don't know how he got me on the phone, because my mom, because I was not taking people's phone calls at the time. And he said, you get back to work right now. He's all, no one knows your story. No one knows where you came from. Because remember, I was back then still like embarrassed of my story, because here I am working in the entertainment industry. They're all going to think I'm ghetto or hood or whatever, And it's, again, I was afraid of my journey. And we're going to get back to that, because I want to keep pointing that out, because there's a reason why I keep bringing that out. But he said, you come back and you work for me. You can work in the office, and la, la, la. And for whatever reason, I got up and I went to work the next day. And I worked. And I threw myself into work at the radio station. And I think that when people are grieving from deaths, there's so many different ways to grieve. We can never judge people on the way they grieve. Some people party, some people do nothing, some people overwork, some people underwork, some people eat a lot, some people don't eat. And I just say, if you know anyone that's grieving, please, show them love. You know what I mean? And just understand that everyone grieves differently. I started throwing myself into work. And I was at that radio station, and it was kind of a way just to forget about what happened. And it worked for me at the time. I threw into myself at work. I quickly kept moving up I could go through everything. I became the red carpet reporter. It was like doing all these things. And I didn't even really want to be on the radio. Honestly, I was just doing radio just to kind of distract myself from what was going on in the real world. About a year after doing that, or 2 years probably, I don't even know the time frame, but I started getting phone calls from different radio stations across the country saying, like, hey, come audition. We want to do morning shows, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? I'm not moving. I don't even want to be on the radio, like whatever, right? But San Diego called me, and I love San Diego. I grew up like coming to San Diego. I used to go to San Diego State parties. Like I was just, I just love San Diego. So I was like, oh, okay, I could go audition. So I came down here, I auditioned, and all they told me is be you. And I said, that's what, because I at the time, I didn't have a lot of radio experience on air. It was like behind the scenes. I had never been in a studio. I didn't have headphones or anything. I didn't know how to be on the radio. Okay. And they said, just be you. And I looked at them like, be me? That's like the easiest thing. Okay. And I was me. And I probably shared a little bit too much. However, at the time, that's what they were looking for. People gravitate towards authenticity. I didn't realize that at the time, but I feel like your authenticity can help you a lot. People gravitate to you being honest and real and raw, and to who you are and your journey. I started being on the radio. Everybody was really mean to me when I first started here in San Diego, which I understand. Who is this new girl? Why is her name Gina the Latina? Blah, 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 blah. I mean, I got so many emails and messages, and and remember, I'm still freshly from the hood. So my natural reaction is not to just kill them with kindness at that moment, And so I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember calling my mom. I had a 1-year contract, and I told my mom, I don't want to do this. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. Like, I just need to go home. I never even wanted to be on the radio. She said, Mija, you have to, like, you made a commitment 1 year, you do your 1 year, and then you could do whatever you want. And so I said, okay. I was closer to 1 year. And I don't know how it came up, because I don't think it was planned, but I shared the story of what happened to my brothers on the radio, just like I shared it with you guys. And I just told them the story, probably similar to what I told you guys, maybe a longer version. I don't even remember. But after that, I got so many emails, so many at the time, whatever, emails, DMs, whatever it was on social media, saying thank you for sharing your story. And thank you for being open about it. And they could relate. And somehow, even if they hadn't lost someone, they just could relate. And it was in that moment, the power of my voice. And that if, I didn't realize when you're sitting in a little studio, you don't realize how many people you talk to. And it was at that moment I realized, you know what? Like, yes, most of the time we're joking around. Yes, most of the time we're talking about Kim Kardashian and dumb stuff that doesn't matter. But when I have something important to say, people will listen. And and that's when I realized, you know what, maybe I can turn this radio thing into good, meaning I have always wanted to come and be speaking to people like you, right? If I wasn't on the radio, I probably wouldn't have that opportunity. And that's when I started to, okay, so maybe I don't want to be on the radio, because a lot of people don't know this about me. I am extremely shy. I like that. The part I hate about the radio is like being in front of the public, being a public figure. That's the part, but I love everything else about it. But I thought to myself, if, I could put up with the me messages, I can put up with all that stuff, if it means that when I have something important to say, people will listen. And if it means that when I need to represent for my people, or when I need to represent for women, or when I need to do whatever, that I can be that voice. And I take that very seriously. And people don't realize this side, because if you listen to our radio show, we're very fun. And, and our job, and people don't realize, is that my job is to make you forget about your life, your stresses, the fact that you maybe can't pay your bills or whatever. My job in the radio is to make you laugh and have fun. And I consider that a purpose. And so when we're joking around in the morning, I know that the way I come off on the way I am on the radio, the energy I'm putting out to you guys is what's important. And to me, that made everything worth it. And that was the moment I realized it, like, hey, I can touch way more people doing this than anything else. And that's when my attitude about radio changed, and I stopped trying to quit, because before that I tried to quit 5 times. This is my dog. He won't leave me alone. So I guess I wanted to tell you guys, as you are on your journey, wait, I want to back up real quick. I told you guys multiple times that my journey, I was embarrassed of my journey before. I didn't want to tell people where I came from, whatever. The second I shared my journey, the second I shared my story on the radio, that's when people in San Diego embraced me. And I really don't get that many messages anymore. But I want you guys to I want to encourage you guys to really, really be proud of your journey, your successes, your fails, like things that you don't like. You're like, why am I going through this right now? I promise you there will be a reason, even if you don't understand what that reason is right now. And whatever direction you choose, college and now, I want you guys to find something with purpose. Something you're passionate about. I have been a dreamer since I was a little kid. You know, when I was a little kid and I was just living in Silmar around this, I knew that I envisioned my house. Like I didn't know it was manifesting. I was manifesting at like 5 years old. I knew I was going to go to college. I knew I was going to do this. I knew I was going to whatever. And I believe that to this day. I know the next house I'm going to have. You know what I mean? I envisioned this girls empowerment conference. I envisioned me sitting talking to you guys right now when I was young. And I encourage you to do that. And people sometimes like to crush your dreams and be like, oh, that's too big or whatever. No, it doesn't matter what age you are, what ethnicity, where you come from, that you can do whatever. I'm such a big, but you can do whatever you want and don't let anybody tell you differently. I encourage you to dream big. And even if you don't have it figured out right now, maybe you don't know exactly what your major is or what you want to do in your life. It's okay. Continue to dream, trust yourself. As long as you lead with passion, with purpose, and you stay a good human being. And I say that because I meet a lot of people that are not good human beings in my business. But if your intention is always in the right place and you are leading with a good heart, and you know, like everything you do, I always say, why are you doing it? When people say, I'm going to make this decision, what is your intention behind it? And if your intention comes from a egotistical place, is probably not the right thing. But if your intention always comes from, hey, I want to, you know, for me, it's, I want to make other people happy. I want to encourage them. I want people to look at me and be like, hey, something resonated with her. She went through what I've gone through and she has done all these things. I can do it too. And so I encourage you to be that person for the people in your life, whether it's just your little sisters, your little brothers, your coworkers, your classmates, whether it's just a stranger in that street, be that encouragement that someone else needs, be that leader that they need, and dream, 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 and never be embarrassed of your journey. Let your journey lead you and let your journey inspire you. And I'm excited for you guys to go on your journeys. So thank you guys for having me. I believe we're going to do a little Q&A, but I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I love all your little chats. You guys are so cute. I had to turn it down because I get distracted pretty easy. Do you guys want to ask a few questions? Any questions? You guys are so cute.
So at this point, we welcome anybody to ask a question on the chat box, and we can definitely help you out, Gina, by reading some of those questions out loud. And
okay.
Have you ever wanted to give up college? I am struggling. That's what.
All right, Gina. So the first question that we have is, have you ever wanted to give up on college? Sorry, I'm back. I had to put shoes on real quick. Have you ever wanted to give up on college? We have some students who are struggling. And what did you do to make sure that you kept your eye on that prize, that degree?
You know, I don't know why I'm being called to talk about this, but I feel like sometimes people want to quit college, not because maybe because it's the money, maybe because it's like you don't have support at home. Did I ever want to quit college? I loved college. I would say I personally didn't, but what I would tell you is when there's a will, there's a way, and everything pays off and you are supported. And I guess I would want to know like what exactly is going on, and back to it. Why are you in college is what I would ask myself. Why are you in college? Is it for you? Or is it for somebody else or whatever? But if the answer is it's for you because you want to better yourself, you want to be the first one to graduate, like I was, then you keep at it. And I know that there are people there to help you. It may feel like, sometimes you feel like, oh my God, I'm not smart enough. I can't do this. And I don't think I got to this, but I didn't know how to be on the radio. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know how to do anything. And I taught myself. So whatever it is that's keeping you back, maybe it's insecurities, know that you have the power to change it. So, and it's okay if it gets hard, just stick to it. If that's what you really want to do.
Thank you for answering that question. The next question we have is, how do you deal with imposter syndrome? How do you get into those spaces and how do you deal with that? Thank you for answering.
So I felt imposter syndrome today when I was actually like getting to speak, because I'm pretty confident, but it's like, well, am I going to be a great keynote speaker is what I'm going to say and matters. And what I do is, and I got off, I want to share this with you. I just got off, and this is imposter syndrome. I just got off the phone with my cousin who is from where I'm from. And he just got a starring role in a major movie, and he is going to France to film. He's never acted. He's never been in a commercial. He's never done anything. And so he calls me, he's just like, Gina, like, and he sends me the contract. I don't know what to do. And I said, look, you get out there and you're confident. They picked you for a reason. You belong there. And even if you need to hype yourself up all the way, you do what you got to do until that's over. And I have always, I believe in, I don't believe in fake it till you make it, but I believe that you can be confident, you can teach yourself. And I think sometimes we think we don't belong, but we do. Like for my cousin, yeah, sure. It's like such a huge opportunity. He's going to be a movie star, right? But he is a damn good actor. He may not have that experience, but he is a really good actor, And so that's what I say, like, there is a reason why you are where you're at. And you got to remember that. And you got to really kind of be your own cheerleader, pump it up. No, I got this. So that's what I do. I also, I meditate. I'm a big meditator. I meditated right before I came on there. I asked the universe, I asked, for me, it's God or whatever it is you believe in, to guide me and to help me and to use my voice to relay whatever needs to be heard today. So those are the few things. Be your own hype man. A lot of times too, it's us that's telling us we're not good enough, but we actually are. Like, don't underestimate. Just be your own hype man. Or find a friend that just hypes you up and knows, and even have this conversation like, hey, I need to be hyped up right now. And you call that friend and then they will do it for you.
I love that. Thank you for answering. We have time for one more question. And the last question is, how did you get out of and break out of that shy bubble that you were in and that you shared a little bit about?
I'm not totally out of it. I'm when we're on the radio, we're in a little studio with four mics, and we don't realize that there's a million people listening to us, but how I got out of it is I just became, I think when you become more confident and you become more comfortable with yourself and you really start exploring yourself, we as women, and I don't know if there's other people on there, but we as individuals and people start learning about ourselves. And the more you start loving yourself and really appreciating all those things about you, you naturally become more confident. Am I going to be that person that's like, sometimes I'm still quiet, sometimes I'm loud. You never know what version you're going to get of me. But I just think believe in yourself and have confidence and know that you're worthy. And your quiet trait actually could be a good thing. But if what you're trying to do is to be a little bit, more outgoing, just do it day by day. It takes time. And yeah. And I'm available for more questions because I know I ended a few earlier if you guys want, or I don't know if you guys have to get off or whatever, but I love doing this. So it's up to you guys.
Awesome. I'm just reading the chat to look for one more question. We love all your answers and the vulnerability and the space you created for us today. We appreciate that. Another question is, what techniques do you use if and when you've ever battled depression or have gotten in a funk? How do you get yourself out of those funks?
I'm glad you guys asked this. So I talked about how I was depressed after my brothers, and then I worked, and when you put yourself at work, and we do this, at some point it's going to catch up to you. And I always say that you have to, at some point, it's going to catch up to you. You're going to have to deal with it. And it did catch up to me, and it made me physically sick. I could go on and on about this, but I always say do what works for you. So I tried traditional therapy. I've tried non-traditional therapy. I have done all these things, but one of my therapists told me something that I thought was really, really awesome. And it was like, and this was like years later, this was when I was already in San Diego, and I was like, I have everything going for me. I have this great job. Why am I depressed? And it was because I hadn't dealt with everything I've gone through. And she told me this: look, Gina, this week, focus on being not depressed, just not depressed, not even happy, just not depressed for 15 minutes. That's it. If you are not depressed for 15 minutes this week, it's a win. And then next week we'll try for 30 minutes. Next week we'll try for an hour of the day. Next day we'll focus on a whole day. And I just kind of kept going to there. And I was like, okay, because I think we always have the expectation, like we need to be happy all the time, and why are all these other people happy? We have to be this, great, on top of everything else. And I don't think it is. Her point was like, you make progress and you start out slow and you celebrate the wins. And yes, being truly happy for 15 minutes a week is a win when you're a severely depressed person. And she said, one day you're going to look back and your depressed is going to be way smaller than what you were happy. And at the time I was like, there is no way. Because when you're living that life, you're like, there's no way. And now I can look back and I can say, like, I can't remember I haven't been depressed this week. I haven't been depressed in a long time, and so just celebrate the little wins, take it day by day. Self-care is so, so important. I learned the power of no a long, long time ago, and it helped me, because if not, like, we will, as women, we can take care of the kids. We can take care of our husbands. We could take care of our wives. We could take care of the family. We could go to school. We could do our career. Women, we like to do it all, but at what point do you put yourself first? And I think that's really, really important, because once you start putting yourself first and you make time for yourself, it really, it helps if you're going through a hard time. So I really, really encourage you to put yourself first, your health first, and find what works for you, and take the time to do those little, I know it's so cliche to say self-love, but those little things that make you happy, even if it's just watching a reality TV show that doesn't make you think about the world, but like it's for you time, those little things.
Thank you. That's great information. Thank you for sharing that. And our final question is, how did you deal with being a woman in a male-dominated field? And what do you do daily to combat that feeling?
Oh man, this could be a whole day conference on this. Radio is predominantly, no, like almost all men. I think I didn't want to get my facts right, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only female-led show in San Diego, or if not one of the few. And if I was a guy, I would have had the Gina Latina show years and years and years ago. And that's just the truth, right? And so every day, I used to get angry because like guys would get offered morning shows with no morning show experience. Yet I had morning show, experience for 10 years and I wasn't even thought of. So it was a fight to get my name on the show. It was a fight to get my name first, even after I have earned and deserved it. And I always say this, when I used to get angry about it, but instead I said, you know what, I am fighting for the future, because I know in my lifetime, we may not get there yet, maybe, hopefully, but I want to fight now. Because I don't really care if like for my name to be first or for me to have the Gina Latina show, but I'm doing it so that younger girls don't have to fight for what they earned and deserved when they become my age. So that my niece, when she's my age, this won't even be an issue for her. And so for me, when I go into the workplace, I remember that. I remember I'm a representative of women. I remember that they still have a long way to go in the radio industry, but I also remember that everything I'm doing now is going to help the younger generation, the next generation, so that they don't have to. And I remember that going into work every day, but it is a struggle. Luckily now, though, in the last few years, my general manager is a woman, and she loves putting women in positions. And when they put my name first on the show, finally, she said it's not even like, she brought me in and she's like, you don't even have, like, that's it. So we are making changes, and remember that everything you do now is going to help someone else in the future.
I just wanted to share the chat box is blowing up with nothing but love for you. Everybody is enjoying your journey and your story that you're sharing with us. And we are so honored that you're sharing this space with us, especially today on International Women's Day. And you are a local celebrity to us. So we are so happy to have you here. And I think I just have time for one more question that I found in the chat. And it's, what advice would you give your younger self if you could do that from the person you are today?
Oh man, there's so much. I think that we second guess ourselves. I'm not big on like, you're too young or you're too old to do something, right? So I feel like sometimes we pass up a lot of opportunities because we feel like we're not ready. For example, before, when I would get like TV stuff, I always thought, and this was before, I always thought, oh my God, I gotta drop 20 pounds before I can be on TV, blah, blah, blah. This was in my young 20s, right? And so I'm always missing out on opportunities. Then when I finally got on TV, I mean, I was at least 30 pounds heavier. So what was I thinking like 10 years ago? Do you understand what I'm saying? We always underestimate, and we always think, okay, well, until I get here, or, yes, I'll do that when. And it's just like, no, you can do it now. Even if you're not, like, you think you're not prepared, like, don't keep putting off now for the future. I get, if that makes sense. Like, I used to do that all the time. And I just don't second guess yourself. Because I'm telling you, you can learn whatever, just pretend and then learn it. That's my advice. I didn't know how to edit, and now I know how to edit great.
I love that you shared your journey and were honest, raw, and shared your truth with us. That made us connect with you, and your story has touched so many students, and all of our students have similar backgrounds. It's just the location that's different. So hearing someone who is a radio celebrity, come to terms with who they are, where they grew up, really made us happy and really made us connect with you. We are so lucky to have had you on the show today. And so thank you for doing that. And so now we're going to move over to Miss Brittany Carroll, who has some fun information to share with us. And Brittany, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gina, for being with us today. We really appreciate all your inspiring words. The students absolutely loved it. You can see in the chat, they are all about all of your advice and your encouragement and your experience that you shared. So thank you very much again. We've come to the point in our day where we ask for feedback. So we do have our survey that we complete, or we have students complete every year. This is really important. So remember, one of the requirements for receiving the grant today is for you to complete your evaluation. Don't worry, we're not going to attach any of your responses directly to your name or anything, but this is really the point of our program, is to hear from you, to hear what you liked or what you might benefit from, so that every year we keep making it better and better for our students. So please, if you can right now, the QR code is available on the screen. You can scan that with your cell phone, and you can complete the survey that way. Or I'm going to put in the chat a link if it's easier for you to just click on the link. I'm going to have that here in the chat for you to fill out. And we really appreciate your time on this. It only takes like 2 minutes to complete. And if you want to give us direct feedback in the comment area, please feel free. If you have feedback for any of our panelists, you can also put some of that in there, and we can make sure to share it with them as well. But really, we just want to know, this is your chance to share your voice and really tell us how we're doing with the program, how we can make it better, because this is here for you, all of the students. So please take a couple minutes, fill this out. At the end, there's a little reminder there to keep a lookout for an email from Equity, so that you can complete the information and be eligible for your grant. So please take a couple minutes right now. I'm going to go ahead and keep posting it in the chat for anyone that accidentally gets kicked out. Let me see if I can have a live number of how many surveys we're getting right now. Wow, there's already 147 responses. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely awesome. And trust me, we actually go through and read every single comment. So it's not going to get lost in the weeds or anything. This is amazing. Oh my goodness. Let's see, I'm gonna refresh it. We're at 179. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, thank you guys. Let's see. 189. So these surveys are rolling in. Thank you, thank you. We really appreciate your feedback. Come on, let us know how we're doing, how we can make it better. This is all about you, our City College women. Let's see. 202 responses so far. Thank you, thank you. Keep them rolling in. Trust me, we are going to read every single one of them. 206. This is the best part. This is where you get to share with us everything that you loved, everything that you think could be better. We have 210 now. You repost it in the chat just in case. You should be able to use the QR code on your screen if you're on a cell phone to be able to scan, or you can use the link in the chat. See where we're at. 213 responses so far. Yes, keep them coming. Remember, we need to hear from you so you can be eligible for your grant too. So please, please, please share any feedback that you have. I'm going to